Welcome back. You're now watching the lifestyle segment brought to you by Holocrunch Popcorn. Today we will be discussing sentencing patterns in Nigeria and principally a situation which has been all over the news. So Chidinma Ojukwu, the main suspect and the mother of SuperTV CEO Micheal Ataga, has been crowned Micheal 2022. The suspect whose trial is ongoing won the beauty pageant held at the Kirikiri Correctional Facility at an event to mark the 2022 International Women's Day. And all over social media and the press, this has been a conversation in the last week, and we will be discussing it to know what our viewers think about it and also to dig deeper into sentencing patterns in Nigerian courts and what it aims to achieve. And discussing this with me, I have Ike Moye Ozoeze, the managing partner of Moye Garlington. Welcome to the Weekend Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And returning to the show is Felix Adetokunbo. He is President GAI and Public Affairs Analyst.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. So we'll start with you. Happy International Women's Day.
Oh, thank you.
By the way, and we're breaking the bias.
Yes, indeed we are.
Exactly. The young girl was suspected to have murdered Super TV CEO. And trial is ongoing. So for now, she's being reprimanded at the Kirikiri prison. And so to mark International Women's Day, there was a beauty pageant which she won. Now, social media and people generally, the Nigerian public, have said this makes a mockery of the correctional facilities, and there are different opinions on this. What's your overall view on the beauty pageant being organized and her contesting and winning?
Okay, I think it's important to start from the position of the law as it relates to conducting activities within correctional facilities. In 2019, there was a new act, the Nigerian Correctional Service Act of 2019, which has done away with the Prison Act of 2004. And the essence of this act is to redirect the position or the handling of inmates in correctional facilities. The act focuses on four things, but I'll touch on two. Firstly, is to enhance international human rights principles within the facilities to ensure it's being followed, as well as ensure that good correctional practices are followed. And then secondly, it enhances focus on correctional procedures, as well as focus on reformation, rehabilitation, and reintegration back into the society. So with that at the crux of the correctional facilities, you would know that part of their function is to rehabilitate and correct inmates for ultimate reintegration back into the society. So back to your question, for Chidinma and all the other inmates to have taken part in that event within the correctional facility, it was well within the law as provided by the Act, because all inmates, it's important to know that they're firstly still human beings, right? So they are guaranteed their basic human rights. The fact that they are inmates really doesn't take away those rights, except those, of course, which have been ordered by the court. For example, there are restrictions to movement or liberty, so they are confined to that space, but they still enjoy other rights. So the prison facility doing that, quite frankly, it's a good look to our Nigerian system, our Nigerian correctional system, because it means that we are doing things in line with what is expected of us, both nationally and internationally. You know, what a lot of people don't realize, really, is that within those walls, a lot of things happen. Lots of people get degrees, they learn vocational skills, they carry on with lots of fun activities. If the idea is to correct them, then their mind frame has to be at par. You know, they have to be mentally able to receive the trainings, etc. And one way of doing that is by engaging their minds, both with fun and other activities. So quite frankly, for Chidinma to have taken part, and every other inmate really to have taken part in that event was fine, absolutely fine.
And I think that does make a lot of sense, because like even the Nigerian government has changed it from prisons to correctional system. And when we talk about sentencing patterns in Nigeria, besides reformation, rehabilitation, there's the part of deterrence. And so most people think about the correctional facilities as just a form of deterrence, but it's good you've spoken about reintegration into the society. However, Felix, some groups of Nigerians have said this emboldens criminals to know that they could have a great life within the four walls of the correctional facilities, and so it's not such a big deal committing crimes. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I wouldn't toe that line, and I want to believe is a misdirection of thought. You know, she had already explained everything as it relates to law, and going by what the postulation of the law is on this matter, the Act of 2019 has already explained everything. You know, there is an obligation placed on the superintendent of that particular facility, even the leadership, the general leadership of correctional centers in Nigeria. And one of those, if you look at the Section 10 of that particular act, that's the Nigerian Correctional Service Act 2019, Section 10, and Section 33, which talks about the function, the duties of, and one of those things is to rehabilitate, reintegrate, and, you know, just try to make them better people. And if you are trying to make someone a better person, are you supposed to still keep killing the person, if I may use that word? So you have to do everything. In fact, one of the sections says that they should, I think Section 12 says that, and other things that they feel that is necessary to make the inmate, you know, to be better. So the law, they are working within the confines of the law. They've not gone beyond it. And not only that, if we go by the UN Charter that talks about, you know, the minimum treatment that should be given to every inmate, you know, I think that's 1977, which Nigeria is also a signatory to. You know, it talks about all these things. So one of the articles, I think Article 88 or 89, is very specific. You won't even believe that those that are yet to be tried, you know, there are like 3 categories in the correctional center: those that are awaiting trials, those that have been tried or convicted, and those that have not even been charged at all. You know, all those, all of them are there. You know, those that have not been charged, those ones, they can even work and be paid. You understand? So all these things, people need to know that activities, as it happens in the normal world, I don't want to call that place a place that is not normal. I go there too. I do some activities too in that in correctional centers, and I know what happens there. In fact, when you get there, you think you are still in the normal society with what's happening there. So it's not what happened. The only issue I have, to be sincere with you, is how the video got leaked. Let me use the word leaked, because that's the first time. I don't know if it has happened before, but that's the first time I would see such, you know, in the public domain. So I feel what they should have done is to try as much as possible to make sure that such video does not come out, because people are talking about the sensitivity of, you know, the whole thing. You know, many will be thinking, is it that like, I've read a lot. In fact, somebody wrote, a popular person wrote something, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, that Nigerians should not be surprised if Chidinma is pregnant. You know, people are just coming out with a whole lot of things, probably because they don't know what happens in the, and don't forget, she also has a right as enshrined in the Constitution. That's chapter 4 of the Constitution, section 36 is very clear. She has a right, you understand? And one of the rights she has is that she should not be discriminated against, as enshrined in section 6 of that 1977 the UN Charter that I talked about. Chapter 6 of it is very clear that no one should be, okay, if we now say because of the noise, everything that goes with what happened to Chidinma, because of that, the correctional center should now decide to discriminate and not to participate in what everybody is doing. Think about it. You are also infringing on our rights. Are you getting it? So we are saying this not to trample on the sensitivity of the family of the person in your hand, but we are just trying to educate the people that these are the things that happen. But the major thing is this: the family should be thinking of getting justice, and that's where I stand for. Let's forget about all the things that happened, the pageantry, whatever, and she won. And for her to have won is another thing. She's beautiful. Probably that's what gave her. I don't know. But the main thing is this: we should first think of the justice that we are seeking, and that is the most important. No matter what happened, in the prison or outside about this lady, what the family should be thinking of and what the general public should be thinking of is the justice. Justice should be served and should be seen to have been done, and that is what I feel we should concern ourselves most about.
So I'm a little bit biased on this issue because I understand sentencing patterns. In undergrad, my project was on sentencing patterns in Nigerian lower courts. But when you hear from Nigerians, and then the angle which Felix just came in from about the family and how this affects them psychologically and the likes, yes, the law says you're innocent until proven guilty. Within the correctional systems, there are people who have committed several levels of crime. According to the law, do you feel they all should be given the same form of treatment? And this is not when it comes to violating human rights. Do you feel they should be given the same level of privileges, depending on what they are being charged for or the level of crime?
Well, generally, inmates are regarded equal in terms of catering to them within correctional facilities. As it relates to any differentiation in treatments, that will have to have been ordered by the court. For example, some people are in correctional facilities to serve their time with hard labor, for example. Some other people are there with just minimal sentencing. Thank you. That is the only form of differentiation that the correctional officers will have to ensure that they stand by and execute. However, in terms of managing their care, don't forget they have a duty of care to all the inmates that are in there. So in terms of managing that, they are responsible for ensuring that everybody gets equal treatment in terms of ensuring that, one, all their basic human rights are available to them. Two, Felix touched on it, that there is no discrimination to any particular person for whatever reason, right? Because that will give right to another legal hullabaloo. And in terms of, I think I read in the newspaper a couple of days ago, the spokesperson of the prison, when he was asked to make a comment, he mentions that all inmates will be treated equally. All inmates will be treated equally, that he is not even aware of who the particular person it is that the frenzy was all about. So what they are empowered to do is simply engage the prisoners, ensure that they are getting the ability to partake in all activities. It's not just fun activities they take part in, by the way. And it wasn't just the beauty pageant. It's important to mention that as well. There were several other categories in that prison. Some people did plays, some people had vocational work. I hear that all the things that were worn and done, they were all done by the inmates within the correctional facility. So it's important, I think, that it is kudos actually to the correctional facility to see that actually these inmates are gaining some form of experience and learning within their facilities, and it's fantastic.
Felix, while we reel this in, what other things do you feel, because you say you've been to the correctional facilities a couple of times, and this is one of the first times we're hearing news where people are coming also from a positive light. Some people have decried the state of our correctional facilities, except to the certain prisons or facilities where you have the big men. And so it's different from some others. But when you hear about the Port Harcourt prison, when you hear about the Owerri prison, what other reforms do you think we need in our correctional facilities that the government and the correctional services should also focus on while we move forward with this?
Well, in fact, what you just raised will take a whole day.
Yes.
Because if you've been to our correctional facilities, you will know it's very visible to the blind that things are not really going on well. Even their daily feeding, I heard, was it not last year they said they will increase it? I think something like that, I can't remember. You know, the way they eat, you won't feel good when you go there. You won't feel good. There is nothing we can just say about it. And I believe that the Minister of Interior knows what's going on, and the right thing should be done. And concerning the education, I think they are doing well about that. I think National Open University has a very good stay as regards that. Then I think WAEC too, and all the rest. But another thing is, after getting all those and they are finally out of the prison, are they not going to be discriminated against? That is another thing, you understand? So, but what the government should also focus on is their welfare. I feel their welfare should be better, catered for. And the way they sleep, when you go to some correctional centers, the way they are packed, in fact, you're like, wow, what kind of treatment is this? I think if we are talking of their welfare here, we are talking about what the law says, both conventions and all those, how they should be treated, then let it be seen that they are so treated. You know, a lot of things have to be done.
We've seen, well, we've read about some prisoners who go into those facilities and come out and realize there's nothing out there for them, and they go commit more crimes so that they could actually be sent back. Let's talk rehabilitation. This event, which has caused a ruckus, is also doing good PR for our correctional services. And we know that it's not all glittery as it is. Beyond events like this, which are one-off to mark significant days such as this, what else do you think should be done to actually reform these people? Do they get the psychosocial support? Do they get the psychologists and psychiatrists? What else do you think can be done to actually reform these people, that they're not coming out to go back to the life of crime, but they're coming out as actually reformed and rehabilitated people?
Okay. I think that firstly is, well, it's twofold. Firstly, it starts from within the correctional facility. I understand that there are provisions in place to manage different facets of the inmates' lives, from learning vocational skills for some people to managing their mental health. They do meet with the relevant doctors when necessary, psychologists. They get advice, they get counseling sessions where necessary. Now, the second part is upon reintegration. What needs to be more fine-tuned is an easier flow into society. So if they're being released, we need to ensure that there is a system in place to help them to readjust to expectations outside of that facility, right? And one of the ways they can do that is to ensure that they have a let's call it an, for lack of a better word, like an outpatient center. But they have a place where they can check in at on timely basis to look at progress, to get more counseling. Counseling doesn't end within the walls, but also outside, because you'd understand it does take a toll mentally. You know, you've been away from normalcy and now you're coming back. So there needs to be some general counseling and should I say encouragement, so that they can properly fit in and then, you know, proceed from there and move forward. I know in the past I've done a bit of pro bono work at my firm, and we've had situations where we've got prisoners released from prison, it doesn't end there. What usually happens thereafter is we meet with these prisoners, well, privately, of course, and have counseling sessions. Although there might be, you know, it would be good to see that there are systems that the government can make available for them to, you know, to turn up to and get the necessary advice. But as a law firm, what we decided to do was do our part to ensure that once they're out, there is some form of guidance or counseling to ensure that they do not revert to the life of crime. Even though it's for about 2 months or 3 months, that usually helps their psyche to reintegration.
I think that's a good place to leave it.
Thank you.
Kimoye and Felix, it's been nice having you guys to shed light on this. The goal, like we have both said, is beyond deterrence to reform, rehabilitate these people and let them reintegrate properly into the society. And I think on another day we'll talk about dealing with the stigma which is attached to ex-convicts when they get out. And in some cases, some of them are not even ex-convicts because sometimes the cases are squashed. Sometimes they are acquitted, but the society still sees them as criminals and ex-convicts. And so that's a conversation we'll bring you both on another day. But thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that's all for the lifestyle segment, but don't go away, we still have more on the weekend show.